and welcome back to Sakura Angels. In the last episode, Kenta discovered that Yuzuki, the demon girl who had been trying to kill him, was also a student of his school. And just as his guardians tried to live out a normal life. She, however, seemed to be filled with hatred, in part because of loneliness. And while Kenta tried to soften her up with his wits and charms, it didn't seem to work. We now return as Kenta has decided to get all the information from his guardian angels as he can. To do that, he needs to talk to them as they're camping out in his garden. Let's continue. Stealing myself, I slip on my shoes and sneak out into the garden. Yup, this is happening. I'm finally going to learn everything. I approach the tent, its entrance securely zipped. But that won't stop me. I know how these things work. I grab hold of the zip. No hesitating here. I'll give them no time to stop me. And then, in one swift motion, I unzip the tent's door. Okay, no more secrets. I want answers and I want them, That's a big tent if it has room for them to do this. Hold on. Was it H to remove the UI? It was. Haha! Print screen and thumbnail. Yeah! Kenta? What the hell do you think you're doing? Oh no. I may have made a mistake here. You think? Apparently past experiences have taught me nothing. My jaw drops and I find myself unable to put together any form of reply at the sight before me. Upon opening the tent, I'm greeted by the pair of them undressing in a space that looks far bigger on the inside than it does from outside. Dizzying fragrances drift forth from the tent and stirs my senses, rendering me more dazed than I already was before. My eyes are torn between the pair, unsure of where to settle as they flit between them. They're both so pleasing to the eyes. While both of them are clearly embarrassed, Sayaka only seems surprised about the whole ordeal. But I can sense Hikari is practically shaking with what I can only assume is rage. This isn't fair. How was I supposed to know? They do this stuff on purpose, I swear. Kenta! Hikari barks, scrambling for something within the oddly spacious tent to cover herself with. Right, sorry, I was just... The right thing to do here would be to zip the tent back up and wait for them to get dressed, but all I can do is gawk, possibly making the situation much, much worse than it should be. Curse my natural instincts. I can't help but look. It's what I'm programmed to do. Just what? Being a pervert? Oh. Because I can clearly see that. Oh god, I hope none of the neighbors can hear this. You got me all wrong. I just wanted to... She cuts me off. Naturally. Of course I was never going to be allowed to explain myself. That's just not how it works with these girls. No more excuses. I let you off last time, but now... With a blanket covering most of her bare body, Hikari marches toward me with a scary expression, all the while his Sayaka stands by. Maybe we should hear him out? I'm sure he wouldn't just barge in here without a good reason. Oh, he had a good reason, all right. A perverted one. No, Hikari, listen to her. I really do. She cracks her fist. Have mercy! Her fist flies, and I soon see stars as I'm left flat on my back, gazing skywards within my garden. I'm left sprawled out for a good moment before Sayaka and Hikari approach me, now fully dressed. Why does everything have to be so difficult? After explaining how I met Yuzuki the other day and what she had told me, it seems I've finally convinced them to explain things. I led them to my room so we could more comfortably explain things. The tent was an option, but I have bad memories of that place now. Sayaka plops down onto my bed and excitedly looks about the room, while Hikari stands by the door, still angry about before. I said I was sorry. So, this is your room, huh? It's nice to finally be able to see it from the inside after spying on it all this time. I'll just pretend that I didn't hear that. That's surprisingly neat. Okay, so, are you guys finally going to tell me what the heck is going on? I wonder what sort of things Kenta has saved on his computer. Sakura reaches over and prods at my laptop. Guys, can we focus, please? Oh, right, yeah. Thank you. Sakura sits up straight and takes on a serious expression. One that I wasn't sure she was capable of. We really were gonna tell you, Kenta. It wasn't something we wanted to keep a secret. We just thought we could handle things on our own before letting you in on it all. But as you heard from the Yusuke person, time really is running short now. Which, by the way, I still can't believe you didn't tell us about up until now. Do you realize how much danger you put yourself in when you went to face her alone? Hikari cuts in and stomps away across to join Sayaka, fire in her eyes. See, this is why I didn't tell her anything. I know, it was stupid, but it was the only way I could learn anything since you guys weren't being very helpful. That's... She falls silent. Guess I got her there. He has a good point, Hikari. Don't side with him. You're supposed to be my partner. So all I hear is how time is running short. But why? What exactly will happen tomorrow? The start of something really bad. What, though? Enough with the cryptic stuff. Don't yell at me, Kenta. Sheesh. Calm down, I was just getting to that. I may have lost it a little there. I pulled back from her and quiet down. Tell me, Kenta, what do you know about your bloodline? Your ancestors? I don't really... Wait, why is this important? Your blood is the most important thing here. It's why we're even bothering to protect you. Hikari, don't be mean, but your blood is why we were sent. If it were to fall into the wrong hands, namely Yusuke, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Why my blood? What's so special about mine? It might be a little hard to believe, but you're... Well, you're the descendant of a long-running line of mages. People with magical abilities. Come again? Where on earth did they dig that up from? I think if they came to me with that on the first day we met, I would have labeled them as crazy. But after all I've seen, it's a bit easier to believe. How much more does it need to be spelled out for you? You have mage blood. Shouting it into my ear doesn't really help me process it any better, you know. Why wouldn't I know something like this? It seems pretty important. Well, the world in general doesn't really know about the existence of magic anymore. It's sort of just something that got lost in the history books as technology began to take over. So, you know, most families with magic in the blood at this point don't even know about it. It's just something that lies dormant now. Okay, so if a lot of people have this magic blood, what makes mine so special? More special than theirs, anyway. I'm glad you asked. Sakura hops to her feet from the bed, taking me by surprise. This girl can't sit still for more than a minute, I swear. I won't bore you with all the details, so here's the story in short. She clears her throat as if this were a school presentation she had been practicing for. Hundreds of years ago, back when magic was still prevalent in the world, there existed a mage with tremendous power. So much power, in fact, that she was pretty much the mage at the time. Everyone looked up at her, and she was an inspiration to all. But you know what happens to people with all the power in the world, right? She frowns and lets out a sigh. They always want more power. It changes people, corrupts them. So she soon wanted dominion over everything. Over everyone, even. All the respect that people once had for her turned to fear, and she became a blight on the land. Everywhere she went, darkness followed and spread across the land as she went about her conquest. This is getting pretty lengthy. And why do I feel like I know this person she is talking about? Are you still with me, Kenta? She leans forwards and raises an eyebrow as I let out a yawn. Huh? Yeah, totally, I think. But what does this person have to do with me? I'm getting there, gosh! Basically, you're related to that person that had the courage to stand up to this Dark Queen and put her in her place. Hikari! Why did you have to spoil things? Because if you tell the whole story, we're going to be here until the sun rises, and time is of the essence here. Oh, I was really getting into it there and everything. Thanks, Hikari. I appreciate it. So, what? My ancestor killed this evil queen person? If he did, we wouldn't be here having this conversation right now. No, with all the power she had, killing her was an impossibility. I wouldn't go as far as to say she was immortal, but I'm sure it's pretty close. The best he could do was seal her, using the most powerful sealing magic he could master. Which leads us back to that magical blood pumping around inside you, Kenta. Essentially, he tied his fate with hers when locking her away. A seal so powerful that it will only unlock when one strict condition is met. And what condition is that? I think you should know by now. Something to do with my blood, right? Bingo! Her seal will only truly unlock if it comes into contact with the blood of the one who sealed her away, or by extension any of his descendants. Well, actually not just any descendant. It has to be one who has latent magical power residing within them. So that means it means your dad is safe and that the shadows have no interest in him. He does have some magic in his blood, but it's not really enough to realize any abilities. That's pretty convenient. Shaka stretches and lets out a tiny yawn. It must have been exhausting for her to focus on one subject for so long. But I think things are finally starting to make sense. So, are you following so far? Yeah, I think. Basically, my blood is the key to unlocking something terrible. Pretty much. But then, if it's connected to my blood, why are we running out of time? The seal will thankfully never break unless your blood is spilled. But it's been a long time since she's been imprisoned. Meaning that the seal is weakening in its effectiveness with each passing day. Ever so slowly her influence has been creeping into the world. Kenta, your headaches? I see, so she almost calling out to me in a sense? It's why the monsters have been as organized as they have. And why that girl, Yuzuki, she instilled whatever power she could muster into that girl, and is using her as a puppet until she is finally free herself. I'm not sure what lies she must have fed that girl in order to get her to obey, but she's infected her mind. And given the current rate that her vileness have been seeping from her prison, tomorrow will be when she achieves even more influence on the world. The monsters will become more rampant than before. Yuzuki will become more powerful too. Basically, our job will become even more difficult than it already is. That's bad, huh? Very. Which brings us to our next order of business. When we were first assigned to watch over you, all we had to do was take care of a stray shadow or two if they suddenly decided to act on instinct. And that was easy enough. You had no idea those things even existed, and we were able to keep it hidden and watch from afar. But then things started to go wrong. When you saw that shadow, it really took both Hikari and I by surprise. It was like it was on a mission and completely slipped past our super vigilant watch. If I recall, wasn't that on the day you decided on getting a sandwich? Nope. We were ever vigilant. I guess I was even luckier than I thought that they had managed to save me back then. So, anyway, once we were forced to show ourselves to you, it was clear that something wasn't right. At all. And that was only more obvious when Yuzuki assaulted us, wielding a power unlike anything we'd seen before. We'd been looking into it when we had the free time, which is rarely ever when tasked with having to watch over you. Well, excuse me for existing. And it quickly became apparent that things weren't going to solve themselves once we learned that the seal in place had been slowly weakening. We need to reinforce the prison, strengthen it so that her influence can't affect the outside world anymore. Only, if it were that easy, we could have done it ourselves without bothering you. Sayaka pulls a complicated expression. I don't think I'm going to like what she has to say next. Kenta, we need your help. Me? How the heck am I supposed to help? You guys are the ones with all the fancy powers. It's not exactly ideal that we have to rely on you, I know, but we have no choice. And we are right out of time to search for alternative means. Basically, since the seal was created by someone in your bloodline and then linked directly to them, it can only be directed by someone bearing the same blood. I mean, technically, we could break the seal that's there and trap her in a new one, but I don't think we'd last long enough to do that. So in other words, I'm really the only solution here. I'm not sure how to take this. I don't know the first thing about this magic business, though. Am I even capable of doing such a thing? Sakura takes a moment to ponder things, a finger held to her chin as her eyes run over me. Do you remember when the night when Qa'Rajh was having fun with that tentacle shadow? I was not having fun. I guess so, but what does that have to do with anything? You used Qa'Rajh's sword, didn't you? Yeah, but I don't. Kenta, you must have noticed yourself how light that sword was, despite its size, right? It's a blade infused with magic that connects with the wielder to ideal, swift and powerful blows with ease. So infused in fact, that if someone not capable of controlling that amount of magic were to attempt to wield it, they'd go boom! The magic would be too much for them to handle. Boom? Well, maybe not explode, but at the very least it would bring about a messy end. And given that you're still standing after swinging that thing around, it's safe to say that you have the potential in you. Yikes. I can't believe there was a possibility of exploding from picking up her sword. What I did back then was even more reckless than I first realized. So, if you can handle that sword, I think little sealing magic should be no problem. But then it also means we have to go where she is sealed, taking along the one thing she's been seeking for all these years. It will be reckless, and one mistake will mean we could put the world in danger. So, no pressure then, huh? I try my best to keep things light-hearted and force out an awkward laugh, but it is difficult after hearing all of this. To think that somehow I'm both the key to unlocking this woman from a prison and the only thing that can put her away for good. Tomorrow is our last chance to stop this before it spirals out of control. I think you're going to have to skip a day of school, Kenta. I wonder if out-saving the world is a valid enough excuse to miss a day of school. That is, if you choose to help us. I'll understand if you don't feel up to it. Maybe we can find another way. But there isn't another way, is there? That's the whole reason you're telling me this. I heave out a sigh and give my guardians a look over. They've done so much for me in this past week, and even more than I realized behind the scenes. If anything, I owe them this. I swallow hard. I can feel my hands begin to tremble. I might die if I go with them. But then, if we leave it, things will only get worse. So, I guess I have no choice here, do I? I'll help you with the sealing business. If you think I can manage it. You will? Sakura looks ecstatic as she claps her hands together. Was she not expecting me to help? Hikari looks equally surprised. Geez, a little faith goes a long way, guys. It's the least I can do after you guys have been risking your lives for me every day. If I finally have a way to help, then I'm not going to waste that chance. Kenta. You know, you almost sounded cool there. Almost. I think we need to work on your heroic dialogue. But that'll have to come later. We have lots to cover if you're going to seal away this Dark Queen, so pay attention. And just when I thought the night couldn't get any longer, yet another lecture begins. I'm sure it wasn't easy for the pair of them to teach someone like me the basics of magic, someone who only just barely was aware of its existence at all. I'm not even sure if I got the steps down, but after hours of practicing, they assured me that I've got it down. I won't be able to tell for sure until the real thing. That's what scares me. What if they misjudged what I'm really capable of? Or if I mess up? Or there's a whole range of possibilities of things messing up on the day. These are the thoughts that stay with me, long after the girls return to the tent to catch whatever rest they can get before the morning. The last thoughts I have before I finally drift off to sleep is that the toughest day of my life is now lying ahead of me. And that's where we'll end this episode. So, the next episode will be the finale. We'll essentially do a slightly longer episode for the sake of getting it done. Not that I want to rush it, but I feel like having the conclusion from this point on makes sense. So, until next time, take care.